For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
What's going on, everybody? Whether you're practicing social distancing of 6 feet up to 6 miles, you can still party with On and Off the Field, where you can listen to the best NFL and charity-based podcasts out there on the RTF Sports Network. You can follow them on Facebook or go to rtfsportsnetwork.com and check out the show Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
This is the sound of a delicious DQ Blizzard. This is the sound of a drumstick, the original Sunday cone. And this icons coming together in the new DQ Drumstick Blizzard. Everything you love from a drumstick, including waffle cone pieces and peanuts, combined with our world-famous DQ soft serve. We're fitting more summer into every bite. DQ. Happy tastes good.
All right, now, coming through your motherfucking speakers. This right here is for all the bad-ass MILFs who got some shit to say. This ain't no PG-13. These mothers coming uncensored.
I always on my grind shit, yeah, I like the shine.
Hey, welcome to MILFs Uncensored. This is your girl, Seawalk.
Your girl, Illy.
We, Ashby. And today we have a special guest.
Daisy Red, everybody.
You're talking to the mom.
Daisy Red. Ow.
We go back like Cadillac, two flat.
Already. I'm just
4
here,
flats
you
on the
know.
Cadillac.
Oh, what'd that say?
You said 2 flats.
Oh, Lord.
2 flats Cadillac.
Y'all know what the fuck I meant.
She driving a Cadillac bicycle.
Okay, so, it's quarantine or whatever. What have y'all been doing?
Working.
I still go to work.
Me too.
We work from home. I've been working from home.
I still gotta go.
Right, I gotta wake
I
up.
be ready to go as soon as I clock in.
I still gotta go. Sometimes I be wishing I was at home.
I know, me too. I still gotta go to work.
I mean,
They need to pay us more. Did they give y'all a raise?
Hell no.
No,
Girl,
they
they
sent
talking
me
about
home.
a 50-cent raise. Fun. 50 cents. Well, damn. Them down here is getting $5.
I seen
Down the hill.
one
down
trucking
here.
company. I seen they was paying them $10 extra every hour.
Yeah, 50 cents, girl. And
They
they
had a trucking company in Dallas.
a trucking company. Well, yeah, they supplying
They
the
more
stuff
at
we
risk.
need.
And we at risk too. Shoot,
I know
50
it.
cents. I said, that's how much my life is worth. 50 cents.
2 quarters.
You know, I know my boss knows it's worth more, but them, come on, fool. 50 cents. Girl, I thought that was too sad. I almost told them, y'all can keep it.
But then you reached out there and said, "Oh no, I'll take
I
it."
might need that at least 2 weeks.
I know they didn't give it on to me. Girl, didn't I heard something about them taking it back after it was done?
They taking it back.
After taxes.
What?
After everything is done and the
then
virus
pay it
is
back.
over, that's how I'm taking it back.
What the check?
The 50 cents.
I ain't gonna be able to keep it.
Girl, if they do that, I said, this is just too shady. I
They snatch this shit real quick.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I've been mad as hell.
Shit, taxes eat up that 50 cents.
You ain't even gonna see it.
I said, what is that gonna do?
They figure gas only 99 cents.
Man.
Oh, Lord, they're trying to feel like they've done something special. 50 fucking cents.
So if y'all looking for something to do, the other day, excluding Ileana, but we was she did get on there for a hot second. We played a game called Hangman. No, it wasn't Hangman. It was it's the Hangout, the app.
Oh, it's house party.
It's house party.
I seen the house party.
Okay, house party.
This bitch sounds like the hangout. It sounds like a dating app.
Yes, kind of yesterday.
She said hangman first. Like,
Yeah.
It's not with an H.
Did y'all used to play hangman in school? I used to love that game.
Okay, so the house party is an app, and we had a lot of fun on there, and it was funny as fuck. So if y'all looking for something to do, play with your kids.
But you better have good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, good Wi-Fi.
Because Candace is...
Yours too. You can't touch shit.
Don't do me. So tell us about yourself, Daisy Red. What do you do?
Well, I am a hair care professionalist. You know, I have my own brand. I call it Yummy Hair, and I also do CNA work, which is a care provider, which is what many of us do. I'm pretty sure I know a lot of us. And my sisters and I have a family business. It's called Faithful Sisters Healthcare, and we do 24-hour home health and, you know, around the hour, all kinds of stuff. I'm just, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm also on Stars Out 5-Star Click. I'm sorry, guys. And
It's long as hell, so I
it's long, and Stars Productions. Everybody. So yeah, kind of do a little bit of.
So you got all kind of stuff going on.
Hell yeah, you busy, shit.
It was,
You got a man?
no, you know, man friend. Y'all always ask what a man friend is. Okay, so let me tell y'all what a man friend is. Because Ileana is the main one who always asks. No, Ileana said last time, she was like, well, what is a man friend? Okay, y'all, man friend is a man who, you know, you just conversate with, come through, chill with you, you know, that type of thing. You might get a little sex from him, might not, type of thing. And he go about his business and you go about yours. I got a man friend.
Well, I'm looking for a man friend.
I got a little man friend.
Okay.
Right. Kid is stupid.
Oh, well. So she got a man friend, but she ain't got no man, so...
So I really am single. I'm single.
Single and ready to mingle.
Yes, I'm single.
She had to reiterate that.
Don't let us get you beat up.
Sorry, man friend.
If you are watching, she is sorry.
Sorry.
So, do you ever go through your man friend's phone?
I have one time.
Did you get mad?
Well, you know, I was expecting something, but yeah, of course I got mad at his ass.
I have.
But I did because, you know, it had been done to me. But that's the only thing, because I don't ever go through their phone. Because I don't care what the hell you got on your phone. Whatever you got, you got.
I don't want them to go through mine, because, boy,
it's going to hurt somebody's feelings if they go through my
But
shit.
I was drunk.
Oh.
And I fell asleep.
You got.
Shit.
How you had no password?
Girl, it was just open.
Oh,
Because I didn't have like the, you know, backlight that cut off after a certain time.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just like,
So he can't be mad. Y'all just friends.
That's what I
Friends with
said.
benefits.
But, you know, it was just more to it. I was just like, you can't really be mad at me, man. We single right now. But so, since that happened, I went through his. And I was trying to act like he had. But I really didn't give a shit.
You had to swerve in his lane.
I was... I was like, yeah, you do it. And hell, you doing this shit too. And you did it. Girl, I couldn't even get mad like I wanted to. Hell, because I really don't even do that. Like, I really honestly don't care. But it was open, like mine was open.
Yeah.
It was calling my name. And I had to go over there and really check that shit out.
I told myself the next relationship I got in, I was not looking through phones. Because that's my biggest downfall, is looking through a motherfucking phone. I know me and BD number 2, he went through like 6 phones for me smashing them motherfuckers.
After the third one, you should have said just
Right. Like, let it go.
Girl, one of them I just had in my hand, and I said, you know what? I said, this is what you want. Boom. And it just broke all the pieces in my garage.
What kind of phone?
It's an iPhone.
Where you throwing this shit at?
Every time.
I would have whooped her ass.
Girl,
I would have killed you, bitch. That shit, iPhones is not cheap.
He had a warranty.
One of them motherfuckers I backed up on with my car.
Oh, Lord. Damn, sis, you was going through it.
I was glad I let that hurt go, honey. Y'all want to make sure y'all write them.
I gotta write him and tell him about our new artist we found. J. Bush Productions.
Pass the bush.
Yeah,
She don't do gospel.
it's all right. We can flip it down and reverse it.
I hate
We're
y'all.
gonna remix Mask Off. You know about Future.
Leave me alone. Y'all stupid. We not know.
That's funny.
Have y'all ever broke? Have y'all went through your nigga phone?
Mm-hmm.
Did
Yeah.
you break it? Nah.
This one was like the older phones, like the just flat. It wasn't an iPhone. It was some kind of Android.
It was them blueberries. It was them them Burberries.
Blackberries.
Oh, Blackberry.
A Blackberry or a Razor?
Yeah.
A Razor.
No.
It was a Blackberry.
Blackberry or some shit like that.
Them flip phones. I remember them Blackberries.
Get
The
mad.
Blackberry's fine, don't they?
Get mad.
No, they
I get mad
flat,
at you
right?
like today in the fucking wrong group message.
Get mad, Illy.
Girl, I forgot how the Blackberries.
Girl, I ain't seen a Blackberry in so
I
long.
know, those are old.
It's been that long since you had a man?
No, it's
Bitch.
She was with old girl, man.
Oh my God, y'all stupid.
I'm done. I was not.
I'm not fucking with y'all today.
That was good for the press.
Oh,
Extra,
Lord.
extra.
Read all about it. Y'all stupid.
Extra, extra. You remember that song by Nelly?
Okay, so
Extra. You remember that song?
Extra, extra.
That one be extra.
Spread the news, you know.
okay, so
It starts out like that.
It's getting honey.
No. Just let it go. We're going to tell you about it later.
Yeah.
Let me go look at it.
okay, so we had a lady calling us out last night or this morning, and so I want to challenge her to a rap battle.
Oh,
She been rapping all day, y'all.
She has y'all getting on my nerves.
She's
ready.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
She's slow.
Yeah.
for
When
real.
I'm Lily, I can spit.
Oh, don't
You
come
can
for
rap?
this.
When I'm lit, I can spit.
okay, so you gonna take on that challenge for Seawall?
I'm asking the girl. I want to challenge her.
The girl.
Are you trying to take the challenge for?
Me? Little me? Well, you had practice. It's gonna go straight my dome, but we can go. All right, what would be?
All right, at the end of this session, y'all gonna have a rap battle.
Okay.
Kids, you gotta get you.
You better get your.
Yes, I'll get y'all raps together.
You know that.
I just be going out the zone. Let me sit some up. Because when I get tipsy, it's on.
Yeah, let her.
Oh shit.
Candace, you over there sweating already?
She nervous.
I only got like a few lyrics there.
Oh, shit.
I'm
Why we
not fucking
doing
with
it?
y'all.
So what's the lemonade?
What is that? Yeah.
Oh, this is a lemonade from. Now, don't kill me because I don't know how to say the name, but it's by Francois
Francois.
Barris. It's a restaurant in Dallas, and it is so good.
It's in Denison.
Oh, it's in Denison.
Don't
It's
worry,
in downtown Denison.
It's on Main Street, y'all.
It's on Main Street. It's
Across from the
bomb.com.
tobacco shop.
And they have like 4 different flavors.
You just
So,
need to add like a little water. 'Cause
yeah,
it's a little sweet.
It's nigga sweet.
It is. That is nigga lemonade.
I mean, it look
And it has like it has like a whole bunch of
Very
vitamins
potent.
and like all that seeds and
Yes,
shit.
it
It's supposed to be
looks like
healthy,
it got a lot of stuff
but it's
on
real
it.
good.
Can I see the bottle?
Yeah.
It is good though.
It is.
That's got avocado and kale in it.
Who showed you this? Every
No.
What is that one?
But this does look,
the California
Try it.
Dreaming.
You
It's
got
good.
some.
I like
this
it.
looks certified, you know. It says super lemonade.
It is super sweet.
It is.
It looks like it's super sweet.
Bitch.
What is the red thing?
Them is omega-3 seeds.
Okay.
So you can get healthy while you getting drunk at the same time.
That is some shit for your ass. Girl, I kind of like that.
Please give Candy some. She's been thirsty all day.
I mean, yes, let her taste it.
I liked it.
So would y'all get mad if y'all's man, your man went through y'all's phone?
No, because he shouldn't
because 9 times out
I
of 10.
mean, I don't even give a shit.
Because I've been doing things.
If I was in a
little bit.
relationship, I am faithful down to a T.
Yeah.
Now, whenever I'm not, it is what it is.
That's how I
For a
am.
game.
Yep, every man for himself. We got
I'm
different-
faithful until I find out that you cheating. Then it's all right, nigga. Here we go.
Blow for blow. Hoe for hoe.
Oh, you start early, huh?
She getting ready. She getting ready.
Some Ashley.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Tastes like lemonade.
You want to try some?
Yeah, I had to give me a little cup or something. I did have one, but
came prepared.
yeah, I did too. I had a little white cup, and I had this in a little white cup. Just in case. And then I
Look at the solo cup.
threw it away. Look.
Niggas ain't shit.
Super good.
Girl, you are so funny.
Okay, so I have to tell y'all a story about me and Shinny. So
It's a
when we
lot.
was little, me and her grew up together. We was like best friends. And so she had a little sister, and she would always get Shinny in trouble.
Always.
So Shinny mama was like the real meaning of mean mama. Like she was strict.
Yeah.
So we was in there playing one day, and her sister had a trophy and stuck it up my ass. Wait, what? And she
Wait, no, bitch. Run that bitch. What?
stuck what?
Stuck it up your
Yeah,
what?
she had a trophy and she stuck it up my ass, and I screamed. And Shanny got the whooping for it.
What?
Yes.
I took it because
Like she didn't mean like I had my clothes on.
Oh.
And who was that?
Your younger sister. Yeah, so and she stuck the thing up my butt, and I screamed, and then Shanny ended up.
What's going on, everybody? Whether you're practicing social distancing of 6 feet up to 6 miles, you can still party with On and Off the Field, where you can listen to the best NFL and charity-based podcasts out there on the RTF Sports Network. You can follow them on Facebook or go to rtfsportsnetwork.com and check out the show Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
Coming up next here on the RTF Sports Network.com radio network is Twist. This Week in Sports Talk with your host, Mike Reeves.
Nice days can come with a hidden cost. Seasonal allergies. So the Weather Channel built an allergy forecast using IBM Watson. It draws insights from local weather data, predicting allergy risk up to 15 days out. Now you can stay informed and enjoy nice days for what they are. Get allergy insights with Watson on the Weather Channel app and weather.com.
What do you get when
when you put two Minnesotans and a guy from Wisconsin together. Twist. The Weekend Sports Talk. Get ready for some sports chatter, where there's sure to be laughing, arguing, and maybe even crying. Now, here are your hosts, Mike Reeves, Matt Benz, and Greg Green Bay Bauman.
Welcome, man. Yes, sir. Here we are. Episode 27, Fred Smooth. Welcome to Twist, the Weekend Sports Talk. We got a beautiful day, an absolutely fantastic show. I told these guys I'm banking on this is going to be our best show yet.
I'm intimidated. I mean, we got Lieber coming on, and usually I'm the best-looking guy in the show.
You better be intimidated. He eats pieces of shit like you for breakfast, Green Bay Greg. He doesn't play that. So let's fire it up with our first interview here with Ben Lieber. He is a former linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings, and now is on KFan and an on-the-field analyst as well. Yeah. Welcome to the show, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How you guys doing?
Oh, fabulous. We're just living the dream. We got Lieber on. I mean, what's better than that? What's better than
I don't know what's better than that. I mean, you guys, if Donut Day fell on today, then it'd be like the perfect day.
Yes. Yes. Maybe if there was college football on today, it might be a little bit better, but that's all right. We'll take what we can get right now. So what have you been up to besides obviously, being on KFan and things like that during this crazy time in our lives? What have you been doing to keep yourself busy?
Oh, boy. There was a time where my kids were in school and my wife and I, like a lot of parents, had to play homeschooling teacher. Man, that was an utter disaster. So we had to waste our time doing that. And, really outside of that, not much. I mean, I've been doing some stuff with the Vikings as well. So a lot of normal stuff for me this time of year, just sitting in my office and watching film and breaking things down and creating analysis and on some of the Vikings players and stuff. So a lot of draft pick stuff as well. I broke down a lot of the Vikings draft picks, just kind of the pros and cons of their game and what to look forward to. So really, nothing has really changed for me because this is kind of what I'd be doing in the off season anyway. And then I think the only new thing is I'm trying to pick up fly fishing. There's this idea that I've had in my head for a long time to learn how to throw a fly. I've done it a couple times, but I thought, hey, it'd be silly if I didn't use this time a little bit more productively. So I'm trying to get into that as well.
Awesome.
Do you have as much access to the Vikings, whether it's Zimmer or anyone else? Because, when they had OTAs, you were obviously a part of that, being able to show up there and stuff. But now that everything's virtual, do you have as much access to be able to contact them, or are you doing a lot of this stuff on your own?
No, I do a lot of stuff on my own. Even in normal times, I'll go out to practice every once in a while, but I try not to step on anybody's toes. I don't want to overstep my bounds. I think sometimes as former players, and I've seen this happen where guys, they feel like they have a right to be out there and to do kind of free roam around, and I certainly don't want to be that guy. So I'll go out to practice every once in a while. I'll talk to a few guys, but I maintain my space. And so during this time, it's even more so. I know that access is really restricted. And quite frankly, there's really nothing that for my job that I need to talk to these guys directly about that I can't get through the normal media channels.
Sure.
I think your job is perfect. Being a former player, you're on the field talking with these guys. They give you that kind of respect because you've been there and done it. I know me personally, I'm nervous you're going to leave us for greener pastures. So please don't do that. I'm a diehard KFan listener. Yeah. You're a great addition, to all of those shows. You're just amazing. You were in the NFL. Obviously, you were great at your craft there, and you've transitioned that and elevated it to what you do now. So, I applaud you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Thank you.
The big thing with me is that you responded to my DM and not Mike's DM. So that just right there puts me on a platter.
Unbelievable,
My stock in this show just went through the roof.
I think I sent it to you from the Twist one. And then from Twist Host Mike, I don't know if his handle is cooler and just caught your attention
It's just the wording.
But I mean, you basically ruined my life with that.
I do apologize. I don't know the hows and whys of why that particular message that I responded to and did. I don't know. Okay, so maybe there's some confusion there, but Matt, as long as I can elevate your status, I'm all for it.
Oh man,
my handle's Green Bay Greg. I didn't even try.
Yeah, didn't even try. Yeah, no. I mean, you're even wearing the wrong colors for this podcast. I mean, it's all bad.
Excellent. So you got some Vikings questions, or can I?
Yeah. So I just wanted to dive in. We're gonna have a little fun after this, but I told them I got to talk, some purple. Wanted to talk draft picks. Obviously, with our first overall pick, Justin Jefferson out of LSU. Your first overall pick is going to be exciting, but I think he's actually going to fit the bill this year. It'll be, tough to step into a Stephon Diggs type role. But if anybody's going to do it, I really think he's probably one of the best receivers coming out of this class and is going to be great for us for a while. So I wanted to get your thoughts on him.
Yeah, no, he certainly gives us a great chance to do what we can to replace Stephon Diggs. I mean, it's going to be really tough. Stephon's one of the best route runners in the league. But he had to develop to get to that point. And I think it speaks volumes for the coaches that the Vikings have, that they've shown time and time again. It doesn't matter if it's Anthony Harris or all the work that Andre Patterson's done on defense. You look at what they do with the wide receivers, even the running backs, and how Alexander Mattison, really elevated his game as the season went on. The coaches know how to develop, and you're getting such a polished product already out of college that no doubt that he's going to learn the nuance of being a wide receiver. And you watch his tape, and I know everybody's already talked about his flexibility of being an outside receiver and a slot receiver. He's done both. He's excelled at a high level. And when I watch it, he already sort of understands how to create separation, especially at the top of the route. And that's really what it's all about. You keep hearing about his football IQ. He's a smart player. He understands already in that LSU pro style-ish offense in which Joe Brady's now going to run over in Carolina. He understands how to break down defenses already. And I think he's already there with the mental game. Now he's just got to put it all together, which is going to be tough for all these rookies. No OTAs. No mini camp, there's no this feeling out period. They're just going to have to jump right in, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to succeed early on. But I think he's going to be well on his way. I think after the first half of the season, I think he's going to be a really dynamic wide receiver.
Greg's brought it up before. He thinks Green Bay takes us at home just for the mere fact that our team is so young that it's going to take time, but that when we go to Lambeau, that's the game the Vikings get. And a lot of that is on the cornerback side of the ball, where we got Gladney in the first round, Cam Dantzler in the third, and both of them are really going to need to come in and play a starting role right away. Do you think it'll take time for them? Will they be effective in helping us out right away?
Boy, it's tough. It's tough to say. I mean, I was a big fan of Gladney even before the draft started. I took some time to break down some cornerbacks that may be in that 22 range late in the first round, and Gladney was definitely one of the guys that I targeted, and I was really hopeful that the Vikings get him. So I was pumped. I was pumped when the Vikings grabbed him, and I think you're going to find a player that has the tenacity that you're looking for. He's very, I don't want to say cocky, but he's very confident in the way he plays. He's very physical in the way he plays, and that's exactly what Zim wants. Now, everybody says that cornerback in Mike Zimmer's system takes a while to understand. Terrence Newman even talked about it. So I do believe that there is going to be this time in the first quarter, first third of the season where these guys are going to get picked on, and they're going to have to take their lumps. And unfortunately, teams that have veteran quarterbacks and veteran wide receivers that understand the NFL game, they're going to have an advantage over our defense. But I'm hopeful that our veteran linebackers, Daniil and the guys up front, the additions of Michael Pierce and all that stuff, if they can stop the run, that we always say, if they can stop the run early on the early downs, you're going to give your secondary a chance. So that's my only hope with playing the Packers first, because if you look at it on paper, I'm with you. I mean, they should torch this secondary.
Yeah. So my big question is, switching from NFL to college, have you heard anything about the upcoming plans for the NCAA having a season?
The only thing that I've heard is, just following the conferences. The SEC in the South early on said, we're planning to have football. We just need to open our universities up, and we'll see what that looks like. And they, before anybody else, jumped on board and said, we're going to bring our students back, and we're going to have all of our spring sports and our fall sports start to get back on campus. So what that looks like attendance-wise, I don't know, but it's nice to have a juggernaut like the SEC sort of leading the charge, because everybody knows that that's the premier conference, and what they do, I think a lot of other conferences are going to follow. And I think it won't be long before all the Power 5 conferences and teams agree to bring football back to some capacity. We don't know what it's going to look like with fans, but I'm 99% sure we're going to have football at the college and NFL level just as we know it, but the audience may just be a little bit smaller.
Yeah. So what I wanted to do, basically ask you a couple of your favorites, right? Okay. So, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what is your favorite restaurant to go out to? Not fast food. What one is when you can sit down, which is coming soon? Yeah. Where are you going?
Dude, I'm a carnivore, man. I like meat. And I know this probably won't go over well in the Twin Cities because it's a chain restaurant, but I'm a big fan of Capitol Grill.
Okay.
If I'm gonna go out, and my wife and I are gonna go out or with some friends, and I want a great steak and a hell of a wedge salad, then I'm gonna go to Capitol Grill. To drink their Stoli Dolies, their pineapple infused vodka that tastes like water. That's probably the place. And the thing is, it's sort of nostalgic for me because my wife and I met at Kansas State, and my first big nice dinner that I was able to afford in college was the Capitol Grill in the Plaza area of Kansas City, and I thought I was balling. I'm like, oh hell yeah! Like, yeah, $40 steak, fine. Who cares? Like, it's a night out. Like, that's no big deal. Even though like I'm sweating looking at the menu, like, oh my god, it's like $18 for a salad. Like, what the hell?
Awesome.
So that's the place I like to go to.
Greg, all right, yeah. Actually, to follow up on that one, of all your former teammates, who would you want to? Who's your favorite to just sit down and have a beer with or dinner with?
Oh man, my favorite to just sit. Everybody knows Greenway and I are really close. So he and I just get along on a whole different level. He's the guy that we can just sit down and we can take the guard, take the shield down a little bit, loosen up. I can speak the way I want to with him, and he can with me, and not feel threatened in any way. So he's probably first and foremost, but we had a tight little group of guys. Brooks Bollinger, still a good friend of mine. Jim Kleinsasser, hilarious. Jared Allen, hilarious. You guys opened the show with Fred Smoot. I mean, he's probably we were tight enough to like sit down and have a beer with. But you want to talk about one of the funniest MFers I've ever been around? Like, he made practice so fun. Like, he was always talking shit, like always talk. And it didn't matter if he was on the field or if he was on the sidelines and the offense is on the field. This dude is yapping back and forth, and he gets everybody else yakking and laughing. That guy, I mean, sit down for 10 minutes with that guy and you'll just be in stitches.
That's awesome.
So you're actually our fifth Viking that we've been blessed enough to have on the show. Our first one was Chuck Foreman. We did a live show at a restaurant, had him on. We've had Corey Withrow, Gus Farrat, Michael Bennett, and now you. So we've been extremely appreciative. We've had no Green Gay Packers. So what's your favorite Viking of all time, player?
Oh, boy. I'm a big fan of Carl Eller. There's you meet the guy even now, and obviously he's a little bit more broken down, but that dude, I think if his knees and his back could handle it, I think he would still throw people around. He's one of those guys that you understand in his generation why he dominated the way he did. And he's this specimen, and I know that he's got this football temperament. I would have loved to have seen him play in his prime and be on his team. John Randall's another guy, obviously that is iconic, fun to watch. Trash talking stud. So those two guys sort of pop into my head because I just like the style of which they play. I like the personality that they brought. And, obviously having a chance to meet them and be around him, Eller's a great dude.
Yeah, they made blocking schemes back then for Eller that are still used today. They changed the way blocking was made because he was just so good at what he did.
Yeah, he's a beast.
All right, I'm going to put this one on a tee for you. What is your favorite alcoholic beverage?
Douglas and Todd bourbon.
Excellent. Where can our viewers and listeners get access to Douglas and Todd?
Yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up. That was a really big shiny tee and a huge golf ball that we just put out there. Yeah, man. Douglas and Todd, we have a partnership. I mean, we took this grassroots approach to this all Minnesota bourbon, and we love just getting the word out that it's a sustainable, eco-friendly bourbon. They take all the grain that's produced 30 miles from Wasagas. They distill it there. All the leftover mash and everything goes back into the cattle feed. So it's a really low carbon emission process. It's bottled in Princeton and distributed really throughout the country. And it's won gold medals in San Francisco for taste. And it's an outstanding bourbon that's surprisingly made in Minnesota. So we're trying to buck the trend of that great bourbons have to come from Kentucky. We think we're well on the way to having a bourbon that people are really proud of.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate you coming on. I hope we can get you on in the future as well, Ben.
Hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
Hold the hell on, Matt.
Oh, here we go. I forgot.
Uh-oh.
All right, Lieber. I can't leave the show without having Twist Nation see this live. I got to beat you in something.
Okay.
All right. So I got a coin here. That's our secondary one. Get your fists up. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Damn it. That's not a 3. That's not a 3. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh!
Here we go. Yeah!
You saw it?
Woo!
You went around the horn. I didn't think you were going to go around the horn.
I did.
I was like, he's not going to go.
Now, Lieber, on his Twitter page, you will see that he...
Twist Toast Mike is going to put in his area rock, paper, scissors champion against at Nacho Lieber.
There you go.
He's going to buy a ring for it.
I won't respond. Could you have Matt?
I have evidence.
We already know he won't respond to you. Thanks again, Ben. You have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Appreciate it. Oh, Ben Lieber. Rock, paper, scissors, champ, baby. I didn't even have to bust out the
coin.
Coin. I had another one where if both failed, I was going to have them guess a number. Wrong. Wrong.
Excellent.
Oh, that was great. We appreciate Ben Lieber. You can find him on Twitter at Nacho Lieber.
Yeah.
Check him out on Sundays, interviewing all the players, and mostly every day on KFAN.
A fan.
We are going to get into another quick hitter, a topic that's been on the media everywhere, and that's the murder of George Floyd.
Yeah.
We do have our Twist retainer lawyer on the video, mic'd up and ready to roll. So we're going to talk to him about the charges that came to some of these police officers.
What's
John
up,
Davis?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got his twist hat on.
You know what it is? Yep.
Man, welcome in, buddy.
Coming live to you from Greg's favorite spot.
There it is. There it is, right outside the bank.
The bank.
Yeah, that's right. After Lieber went down, I think they're going to light that place up.
Oh, man.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Like I said, we gave a little talk about it. This week, the other 3 cops were charged. You should slide the other way, John, so we can see you in the light there.
Oh,
There you go. Perfect. Can you just break down some of those charges and talk a little bit about what's going on?
Yeah, so it's been a pretty interesting week. It started out as a case that was being headed up by the Hennepin County Attorney's Office. Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman decided to charge Derek Chauvin alone with third-degree murder. And obviously there was a lot of resentment, uproar by the community, the country in general, that the other 3 officers involved weren't charged at all or hadn't been charged, along with a lot of criticism by the defense community and the community in general about the ability of the state to achieve a conviction for those third-degree murder charges. So Attorney General Keith Ellison got appointed to the case, and now he's handling the prosecution, and they increase those charges. Derek Chauvin obviously is the person that's been villainized and infamously posted in that still frame shot of him on George Floyd's neck. And he was the field training officer that day, which adds a very interesting twist to this case, no pun intended, because, what we've now found out is that 2 of the other officers were really, really, young in their experience. One of the officers, it was his 3rd shift. The other officer, Thomas Lane, it was his 4th day on the job. And so I want to get into that a little bit and what are some of the potential defenses that these officers could use. And against popular opinion, they're pretty strong defenses in this sense. And so, one thing I'll mention is as awful and horrendous as this is, especially just the conduct of all of them in the sense that nobody stopped and exited the situation and showed much humanitarian thought in stopping what was going on. But this Alexander Kuning, he's taking orders every moment of his shift as a trainee from Derek Chauvin. And so the other officer as well, Thomas Lane, same thing. Now, from early reports of what transpired based on what's gone on in court, and I personally haven't seen the police reports or the files, but what you can hear is that one of these 2 officers was like, "Hey, we should roll him over. We should sit him up." And Chauvin is like, "No, we're gonna restrain him until the ambulance gets here." The other officer went along with that, and there was an interview by Lane's attorney Earl Gray, basically saying, "Listen, you have to have some sort of criminal intent to aid and abet second-degree murder." All 3 of the other officers, just so you know, were charged with aiding and abetting second-degree murder and aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. And those are 2 charges that are now on the head officer, Derek Chauvin's complaint. But his aren't aiding and abetting. His are effectuating. And what they're saying in the second-degree murder is that he killed George Floyd without intent while committing third-degree assault, which is inflicting substantial bodily harm onto another human being. So the difference between a 5th-degree assault, which is a misdemeanor, and a 3rd-degree assault can be broken down like this. If you do an act or actually effectuate an action that causes somebody to either have a reasonable fear of bodily harm or actual bodily harm. So if I punch Mike in the shoulder and it hurts, that's a 5th-degree assault. Yeah, take that, Mike. But if you cause substantial bodily harm, that elevates it to a felony, which is 3rd-degree assault. And so, for example, if I punch Mike in the nose and his nose gets broken, breaking a bone, that's substantial bodily harm. Now there's 1st-degree assault, which is, grave bodily harm. You put somebody in a coma, their brain starts bleeding, and that's much more serious. But what they're saying here is that they were causing substantial bodily harm to Chauvin, and then he died. So in that case, now you don't need intent. You don't need to wake up that morning wanting to kill somebody, and you don't need to wake up planning to kill George Floyd. A lot of people want 1st-degree murder. Well, if you think about that, I mean, you literally would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Derek Chauvin woke up and was like, I'm going to kill George Floyd today. And that is not what happened, right? It's also a lot easier to have these officers, held accountable if they're helping somebody achieve something that doesn't take intent. There's a lot to learn here. They have some really good attorneys. Thomas Plunkett is representing Alexander Kuhn. The other officer, this Tu Tao, he had been on the force and had some previous complaints, but he was the officer standing over to the side. He wasn't one of the officers restraining George Floyd. But he also doesn't have the arguments of, well, how was I supposed to know? Like the two trainee officers did. So look for Earl Grey and Thomas Plunkett to really harp on the fact that the officers were just doing what they were told to do, and a reasonable officer would follow the orders of their commanding officer. And if you think about it from a practical standpoint, like, hey, I'm training here at Subway, and the manager told me I need to clean the oven. I'm not supposed to know that there's a gas leak. I just want to keep my job.
I would say the manager's making a sandwich without gloves, so then I'll make a sandwich without gloves.
Exactly. So Greg Green Bay Chauvin over there.
Yes!
Wow. But really, guys, this is there's a lot of other aspects to this case. I'm sure that there's a higher risk of danger to the lawyers that are defending these officers, right? You have a whole community, a whole nation. I mean, you have the mayor of Minneapolis already saying this officer murdered George Floyd, which I agree with personally. But, it's a tough judicial atmosphere when the governor, the mayors, the NAACP, the entire, city of Minneapolis and the entire world are screaming justice for George Floyd. There's not a venue you can transfer to that isn't affected by the sentiment of this case. So really, really brave of these criminal defense lawyers to sign on to this case in the first place. And then also just really challenging because, you can't be a human being and watch that video and not think to yourself, these guys need to be held accountable. It's very hard. But at the same time, there's a lot of rules of law here, and there's a lot of maxims that come into play that aren't obvious to the naked eye that could produce a result that'll be really easy for people to turn around and say the system is racist. The system, these cops are always going to walk. I just want people to remember that, there's a process here, and the process are specifically tailored to these facts under specific laws. I sure hope they're all held accountable from a personal standpoint. Will that happen from well-being of our city? I hope it does, but that's not the standard.
And John, the big thing that I've been listening to is that even if these charges don't give them a substantial amount of time to serve, the civil rights lawsuit that's coming behind it will carry the most amount of time.
So I don't think so. But maybe I'm wrong. But from my understanding, the civil rights lawsuit is more gonna cost the city of Minneapolis a pretty penny. Yeah, that's the money. But if you look at it's pretty interesting. The coroner's report. The city of Minneapolis is in charge of the medical examiner's office, right? The city of Minneapolis is liable for the actions of the police officers as agents of the Minneapolis Police Department, which is a Minneapolis entity. So when they, unloaded that first report saying, well, he was a drug addict, he had fentanyl, he had hypertension in his heart, high blood pressure, all that did was set a ton of excuses for defense attorneys to create holes in the chain of beyond a reasonable doubt. And why is that? Well, that's a pretty hefty civil rights judgment coming to their way. And then on top of it, nobody wants to pay that bill. And so it's about money, and that's why it was very smart of the family to order an independent autopsy, which then was like, yes, he died of asphyxiation. Well, why did they find that? Well, because that coroner doesn't have to, his boss isn't telling him we got to pay this bill if that's what you find. just alarming discrepancies, and you can really see the bias. And so it makes you wonder how other cases have been handled where there was potentially wrongdoing by the officers, something that we're going to have to look into.
We got a question here from one of our viewers. We are a live interactive show here at Twist. Does it matter if Chauvin and Floyd knew each other and interacted at the bar they worked at together?
Potentially, right? You can know somebody and not have a problem with them. You can know somebody and there could have been a huge incident in two of their lives where one of them upset the other one, and then all of a sudden it's very relevant. Until we know more information, unfortunately, the answer is potentially.
Yeah, and it's going to be a long process, and we'll have you back on to explain to our listeners and viewers, and we appreciate you coming on. Where can they find you if they get themselves in a little trouble, John?
If you find yourself in a little trouble, give me a call, send me a text, 612-298-7136. I'm downtown, 333 South 7th Street, right across the street from the Government Center. You can look me up on Facebook, John Thomas Daly, or my law firm, Daly and Marouche. Or you can call my law partner, Abby, 952-212-0394. She's usually the